Hey, it's Joey with Imzz Elite. We're back in the shop. We're going to do an M8 2.0 crash bar on this 2020 Softail Standard. Let's get into it. I'll show you what you need. Alright, first thing you want to do is take the foot pegs off. This bike's got a little bit different hardware than most stock hardware just because he's running a TBR pipe. Just go ahead and set this down gently. After you get your foot peg off on the right side, you're going to have to get this bolt that holds the master cylinder on. Just move all of that out of the way for a second. And go to the other side. T45 like key style is going to be a little bit easier than trying to get a socket in here because it's going to want to hit the foot peg mount. You might strip it out. This guy gives you a little more clearance. You might have to throw a little cheater on it. Set that aside, or get a crash bar. When you hang this, you're going to want to start with, whether you're on the left or right, make sure you start with one of the bolts that doesn't already have something bolted in it. So on the left side, you can start with either of these two, and on the right side, you're going to want to start with the lower one because there's nothing pre-existing on the other side of the bike. That way you don't have to juggle the foot pegs and all that when you're trying to get it all on. Make sure you throw a little Loctite on all these bolts just as you go, a little dab on each one. Should fit right over the chassis. And just throw in one bolt on this side just to hold it. And like I said, this lower bolt on this side where nothing is existing already. Now that we got it hanging in place, we can start lining everything up and putting all of our factory bolts back in. I like to start on the left just because there's less to deal with over here. You don't have the master cylinder and all that. So I just make sure you throw a little Loctite on these. All right, now we got that foot peg on. We can put this last bolt on this side. And before we bottom them all the way out, I'll get everything lined up on the other side. Got the foot peg bolts a little too tight on the other side, so I'm going to break those loose real quick. That should work. The easiest way is going to be to take a bolt and run it through all the bracketry. Keep everything in line with one another. Otherwise you have to juggle every piece independently. Start with this forward bolt on this peg mount on the right side. So that's going to be the easiest one to get to while you support the weight of the peg. Now that we got that started, everything's kind of in line, we can go ahead and get our master cylinder bolt put back in. Now we should be able to get our last peg bolt. If you have a little trouble getting it lined up, sometimes it'll help to go ahead and run a tap. Just remove this. Go ahead and remove the forward bolt on the peg so we can get it back out of our way. Go ahead and take our 3/16 tap. And you'll see where the bolt holes all line up in the frame. Just get your tap started. It's going to be a little difficult. You don't want to break the tap. Get everything lined up. Once you have your tap started all the way through the threads in the chassis, just run a tap all the way through. Sometimes there's a little debris, old Loctite, things that just make lining those bolts up a little more difficult. So this helps. Line this forward one back up. Get it started again. That's it. Ready to fucking rip.